Maybe I can just start in the interim. Firstly, I'd like to um, point to say how excited and honoured I am to have this opportunity to join ECT. I'd like to thank the directors and the staff for their support over the last 3 months, and in particular for a seamless transition. What I see in ECT and the incredible amount of work that's been done to date um, is really an opportunity, a significant opportunity to profit off the incredible amount of work that's been done over the last 15 odd years. And having had my feet under the table, it's those opportunities which will help project ECT into the area that it is able to profit from and and return value to the shareholders. In reviewing what I saw at ECT before joining, I think there are four immediate findings that I brought from my previous employment. One is that decarbonisation is something that's very critical, and a number of companies have made commitments to 2030 targets well in advance of the 2050 Kyoto Protocol targets. Two, that the time is now, and ECT has a role to play in that solution. ECT can't be the sole solution because the task at hand is significant, but ECT has a significant role to play in that. The fourth thing that I identified was that existing companies don't have a lot of options and alternatives, and they're prepared to pay a premium. Some of those companies are large multinationals, others are smaller, others are isolated and off the grid. But it's important to bear in mind that they're looking for solutions today. And then finally, ECT is a significant part of that opportunity. So, what did I see? One is that I saw that there's patented technology that we can provide an immediate decarbonisation pathway. A lot of work's been done and demonstration being put in place to provide the confidence for potential off-takers as well as suppliers to enable us to reach a commercialisation strategy. There's an abundant amount of resources given to us by Mother Nature as well as mankind that are the building blocks of carbon, which will then provide the opportunity for the downstream products which are which are at net zero. Again, most importantly, all of this can be done at low CapEx and OpEx costs. It's a very different scenario to the 4 years that I spent in green renewable energy, where the cost of CapEx and OpEx was significantly higher, to the tune of 10 to 100x, depending on what it is. And then the final matter that really resonated with me was that the technology and the suite of technologies that are available is scalable, it's modular, and it has low technology that is able to be rolled out in a number of different areas. So I've sort of touched on decarbonisation now. That's very important. Creates a demand market. One of the major players in the shipping industry is prepared to pay a 400% premium. And over the weekend, there were offtake agreements that were published for methanol to help decarbonise their fleet. The second big thing that we do is we take contaminated waste biomass and incorporate it as part of our process to give us not only carbon credits that we can use, but also to be able to help solve the problem of landfill. Using that contaminated biomass also provides a revenue stream for the business. And being able to deliver affordable, reliable, zero-emission energy is one of the opportunities that presents itself at ECT. And then, amongst other things, the waste products that are created as part of the process, the chars, can be used to improve soil health, and there's significant government programs, both within Victoria as well as in Australia, to be able to promote industries that will help solve the problem of soil health, particularly in an environment where there's increasing fertiliser cost. with the main objective being to be able to deliver the same or better crops for less fertiliser. Comparatively, green renewable energy has long lead items, it's expensive, it's mineral intensive, and the minerals are very scarce, and it ignores the add-ons and the waste to energy as well as the waste to other opportunities that ECT has already investigated. And in many ways, ECT was actually a company that was ahead of its time, but the time has caught up. The 30 years of experience that I've got in delivering major projects, 12 of which were delivered at Fortescue, 4 of which, the more recent 4 is in renewable energy, have given me an insight into what and how we can help mould the company to be able to return greater value to the shareholders and have a place in the commercialisation of the decarbonisation opportunities that exist today. I want to focus this presentation on one of the 4 main patented areas and technologies that ECT has, which relates to cold dry. Cold dry is the building block of all the downstream products. It's proven that the processing is modular, it's immediately deployable, has a net zero waste, and is able to be commercialised by 2024. That's the program that we've put together that we call our race to revenue. It leverages cheap, abundant waste, low-cost resources, and it enables the market to be provided with opportunities today. They're not going to be waiting another 10 years. They can't afford to wait another 10 years. So our race to revenue model will be commensurate with fulfilling existing demand and future demand. It actually provides the basis of our race to revenue. But in understanding the building block, we also don't want to ignore what the other opportunities are. And they represent themselves in Hydromor, Cogen, and CDP waste to energy. But very much the discipline was that in having reviewed all of these opportunities, it was important to give the team focus, set the lantern over the hill they could walk towards, and that we could commercialise and create some recurring revenue for the business as quickly as possible. And so the last 3 months, we've basically deconstructed, put back together, and put together a strategy of how to commercialise cold dry. Our next step will be to look at Hydromor, and we'll be taking this up in the new year, as well as Cogen. In summary, therefore, the race to revenue for 2024 involves finalising the supply and offtake agreements, which are well underway. We've looked at the Bacchus Marsh plant, undertaken an incredible amount of challenge and review, and a credit goes to the engineering team, of which there's only 3, and they've done a fantastic job that proves up that we can go from the 60,000 tonnes per annum throughput up to 120,000 tonnes per annum. And that is at a very small incremental capital cost. That project, we will be looking at financing and how to finance that project, and a number of options present themselves, and we'll be doing that in the new year, in the early part of the new year. At the same time, we have also started and developed some very strong partnerships, exchanged agreements, both on the supply, the offtake, as well as the OEM side. And that's very important because one of the things that was identified early on is that we need capital to be able to take advantage of the processing that goes on beyond cold dry. The OEM partners that we'll bring to the table not only provide the technology, and it's proven, the existing market analysis and distribution networks, but they'll also be able to join us as partners in future projects. And then finally, deployment. We're starting to have opportunities present themselves way beyond Bacchus Marsh. The immediate opportunity will be in the Latrobe Valley, in Yallourn, at a property that we own outright. And then beyond that, we're looking to other opportunities throughout Australia, as well as a number of significant inquiries that we've had on international projects. But again, we want to be laser focused on delivering our race to revenue plan, which is to get income by the last quarter of December 2024. I won't go through the bottom four, the drivers, because I've already touched on those. I think this slide is really a summary slide that presents the opportunities and the three product streams that we have. The first product stream is coal dry, and that coal dry can be sold for fuel or it can be sold for further processing. The feedstock comes from biomass, which is waste created by man, organic waste, and lignite, which is a high carbon rich product provided by Mother Nature. So we can sell just the coal dry pellets. The opportunity, however, is to sell those coal dry pellets to an off-taker who's going to then provide for us an introduction into the char and activated carbon char process. And those discussions are currently undergoing. In the creation of product number 2, which is char for agricultural purposes, and activated carbon, which is used as a medium for filtration, whether it be for water filtration, masks for gas filtration, or actually for military purposes, there is a further product that's created. And that's the third product, which is the syngas. And the syngas is the building block for all the downstream. And as you can see from the simple diagram, what happens is the value increases on the products created, but so does the capital cost associated with delivering that. But the carbon reduces. So the carbon dioxide footprint reduces because we're capturing the carbon and utilizing it in an enclosed environment through pyrolysis and processing of syngas and turning it into a net zero product. That's a very important attribute that ECT provides. So, what are the markets and what are the products? On the left-hand side, we see that we have a number of diversified product options, three of which the primary process I ran through previously. It's important to know that there's a number of other product streams as well, and I'll come to those in a minute. But again, as I open the presentation, this is an area where there is a significant growth in market. And the experience globally is that whilst green renewable is very important, net zero is more important, and particularly in terms of timing. And there's a growing demand from the markets to associate themselves with net zero products, regardless of what their foundation is. And in this particular case, through the clever patent technology, as well as the engineering work that's being done, we're able to demonstrate that we can create downstream products which are going to be verified by independent auditors, downstream products that are net zero. They offer solutions to hard to abate centres. They're important in terms of replacements, and we've spoken about soil health. I'll leave the last two and come across to the right-hand side, where you'll see the top three products, which are activated char, agricultural char, and advanced carbon. These are products that are created at relatively low capital cost and therefore reinforce the move towards commercialising the plant at Bacchus Marsh and creating coal dry pellets, which we will sell to an off-taker who will partner with and look at how we utilise the syngas as well as the waste heat, which they have no use for. The syngas, the hydrogen, the dimethyl ether, and industrial chemicals are all significant opportunities to add considerable value to the suite of products, but they are very much capital intensive. They're not as intensive and they're nowhere near as intensive as green renewable projects that have to do this or gasification projects, but they are still capital intensive. And therefore, we're working with the partners and the OEMs to be able to help bring capital to the table, as well as their technology and their experience. In summary, therefore, if we look solely today at the opportunity that we present and our laser focus on race to revenue, we're increasing the plant capacity at Bacchus Marsh to 120,000 tonnes throughput. We are blending a 20% biomass lignite blend, but we're not stopping there. There's a whole lot of investigations which are being undertaken at the moment to increase the amount of biomass blended with the lignite. This has two significant benefits for our company. Firstly, it increases the credit that is associated, the carbon credit that is associated with our carbon credit footprint. And secondly, it actually provides an additional revenue stream because at the moment in Victoria, every tonne of material that goes into landfill, that is organic waste, is charged a levy of $250 per tonne or thereabouts. And then finally, through the immediate process, getting rid of the moisture, blending it with biomass, we create 57,000 tonnes per annum of cold dry pellets, where we are currently discussing with a number of off-takers who want the product so that they can look at activated char to be able to then sell into the market. We'll participate in that project by capturing the syngas, capturing the heat, and recycling and offering other opportunities. So the performance estimates that reflect the management's internal goals set on the 24th of November, and these forecasts should not be taken as guidance in any way, but I wanted the opportunity to share with you as shareholders what we are finding today. One is that the internal rate of revenue return estimate is greater than 50%. Based on our capital estimate associated with the cost of taking the plant up to 120,000 tonnes, of which we are at 60% tendered quote, and by the end of December we'll be at 80% tendered, we believe that the payback period is 2.6 years. The plant is designed for a 30-year design life, so we'll have recurring revenue for 30 or more years. Significant to all of you as shareholders is that what the design, the demonstration plant, and the work that's been diligently done by the team in the past and today is that what we have can be expanded immediately into Latrobe Valley, where we have an off-taker who is looking to increase the volume of cold dry that they require significantly. And most importantly, none of our calculations today take or place value on the syngas, which we know is of value because it builds the high-value downstream products, the hydrogen, the dimethyl ether, the methanol, and other products, including the chemicals, formic acid, which will then allow further development. We feel confident that in the next 6 months, we will be able to demonstrate what the value of those additional products are, what the capital costs are going to be, and who are the parties that we're discussing as part of the offtake. So the last slide really speaks to our commercialisation schedule for cold dry, our race to revenue. We're looking to finalise design and pricing, and that'll be completed by the end of this calendar year. We'll be validating and finalising contract award in the first quarter of calendar year 24. The plan is to look at commencing construction in the second quarter and to be commissioning by as early as September, where we can then be confident about reaching steady state operation by December 2024. So shareholders, it's this plan that will help us achieve the objectives that we have set for the team. So beyond 24, I've sort of alluded to that. Bacchus Marsh, we're going to be looking at a pilot project to be able to take the syngas and convert it into hydrogen dimethyl ether or methanol. We're currently talking, very early days, but we're currently talking to a partner on that. Latrobe Valley will be undertaking a project evaluation and project development where we're looking at how we can take what our off-taker is looking for and accommodate it within the Latrobe Valley. What we have to solve the problem there is the supply chain in terms of the coal to be able to be commensurate with the development program and the offtake agreement. And then finally, as indicated earlier, we are looking at a number of project opportunities that will be developed internationally through partnerships where there are opportunities for us to take the technology, the modular approach, the lessons that we've learned, and apply them in projects that will be able to satisfy immediate market demands for char as well as net zero alternate fuels.